Hey guys, welcome back to Vicky's Bookish Mind, a channel where I talk about books and basically everything books. If you're new here, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment down below. All the support means the world to me, so thank you. So for today's video, I'm going to be reviewing and rating my March TBR. Sorry that the video is kind of late, but it is what it is. Yeah, so I put up, like, my last video was about what I was going to be reading in March. So today I'm going to be reviewing, so beware. It is very much spoiler filled. I'm basically just going to be talking about every single thing that happened in the books. And yeah, so let's get into it. Also, I will be using some notes because I wrote some things down so I don't miss points. So the first book I read was Daggermouth by H.M. Wolf. This book, I found it on TikTok. I talked about it in the last video. I found it on TikTok. It was really, people were really raving about it. So I was like, why not read it? So I picked it up. I started reading it. I was expecting kind of like a Hunger Games, Divergent kind of feel. And it gave me that a little bit, but not really. So I'm going to talk about the plot, the characters, what I liked, what I didn't like, what I think could have been done better. And yeah. So the first thing is the plot. So the plot follows Shade and Grayson. Shade is the female main character. She's a Daggermouth, so they are basically hired assassins who kill people in the heart. So now we're going to talk about the world building. I'm just going to go back to the plot, but the world building. It's the heart, the cardinal, and then the boundaries. So it's like 3 different separations from the main place, which is the heart. So the heart is where the president lives, or like the ruler, the president, I think. That's where he lives, his family, all the elites and the rich people, that's where they live. Then the cardinal is like the middle class, the working class, the people who farm, who make their food, who tend to everything. Just basically the working class. Then the boundary is where the lower, not even lower middle class, just like the lower end of the food chain is. So they are starving for food. They don't get enough food. They don't have the basic things to live, like the basic necessities to live, but they're finding their ways. So they basically have to find other ways to smuggle in things, to find food, to find work, to find things to be able to live. So they either, some of them are hired assassins, some of them are, I don't know, different things. They do different things for work. So that's how the hierarchy goes. The elites, the middle class, and the lower end of the food chain people. So the elites have to wear these masks. So this is where it starts not making sense. So the elites have to wear these masks on their faces, and every time the author talks about the mask, it doesn't make sense, because how can you say someone is wearing a mask but they're making facial expressions, but you can't see such facial expressions, so how do you know they're making those expressions? Also, they're talking, and it's like when it's described, the author says Grayson puts on the mask and it makes a pneumatic sigh, like, you know that sound, like when you close these you know, in movies, like those doors that close and make this psh sound. I think that's what it's supposed to make, and that's how she describes it. So I think that's what it's supposed to do. But it doesn't make sense, because how is it making that sound but you're talking, you're raising your eyebrows, you're smirking, you're doing this, you're doing that? How is the other person seeing that if they can't see your face? Make it make sense. It wasn't making sense. So that was one thing I had an issue with, the masks. And I think it would have been okay if the author didn't keep talking about it every single step of the way. I think it would have been great if the author just maybe spoke about it once, or didn't just make it so ingrained into society that it didn't make sense to be used. Because every single person has their own personalized mask. One thing again is, what if somebody tries to imitate you? There was no sort of imitation. it would make sense if someone from the lower end tries to imitate someone on the higher end or of the food chain or of the hierarchy. If they try to imitate them, that would make sense. Oh, this is why the mask is there, to be able to differentiate who is who. But then how do you even know who is who? How do you separate Grayson from Callum? I think his name was, yeah, Callum. How do you separate Grayson from Callum? How do you separate Grayson from his father? How do you know the difference between who is who? How do you know this person's name? How do you know that person's name? Everyone just has personalized masks with no meaning. So it didn't have any significance to the plot, I would say. I think the author intended it to have one, but it didn't. So that's the first thing. The masks it didn't make sense. Then what else? So back to the plot. What happened? So Grayson's parents, his dad, killed Shade's parents because if you fall in love with someone else from a different boundary or a different place that's not like elites have to fall in love with or marry people that are also elites. Also, the working class stay with the working class, the lower class stay with the lower class. That's how it's supposed to be. So if you fall in love with someone or you, I don't know, seek someone else out, it's just a bunch of stuff. So if you do all that, you get killed. So every single day, like clockwork, it's a cycle. They bring out people, they put them on the platform, they live stream it to other places, and they kill them like a bullet to the head. You basically say how you want to go, I think. No, you don't say how you want to go. You just say like your last words. Yeah, that's what you do. You say your last words and they pew, you're done. So that's how it goes. So Shade's parents died at the hands of Grayson's dad. I think his name started with an M. I don't remember. I will put it on the screen. I don't remember. So Shade's parents died that way. So Shade has had a vendetta against Grayson's dad and Grayson's whole family since her parents died. And she's also living in the lower end, which also means she's starving, she's looking for food, all those. She's seen her people starve and just not be able to afford life or a good life that everyone should have, and she hates them for that. So the plot follows Shade getting a contract to kill Grayson. So she goes all the way to the heart and tries to kill Grayson. But lo and behold, because this has to be a romance, he removes his mask and she sees his face. And you're not supposed to see anybody else's face. Like your sister can't even see your own face. Your dad shouldn't see your face. Your mom shouldn't see you. No one in your family. Talk us of someone outside of your family or someone outside of the elites seeing your face. So he takes off his mask because he knows he's about to die. So he's like, let me go out with some dignity, I guess. So he takes off his mask. Then as she's about to shoot him, because I think he already stabbed her, she's about to shoot him, his dad walks in and a bunch of other people walk in, the guards and everything. They walk in and they're like, oh, this is not supposed to happen. Why did he take off his mask? And so the guards apprehend Shade, take her to the dungeon, prison, whatever. They keep her there. And then Grayson's mom is like, oh, part of the law, I made a loophole, this, that. I made a loophole, so if someone takes off their mask accidentally, they have to marry the person who saw them with the mask off. Like, how does that even make sense? That's so stupid. It makes no sense, but that's the plot. So now, what's his name? Grayson's dad. I'm going to search his name because I forgot. Okay, now I remember his name. I have all their names here now. So the president's name is President Maximus Sorel. So their last name is Sorel. So Maximus enters the room and he's like, since Grayson's mom, what's her name? Her name's Alara Sorel. So a loophole to this agreement, to this thing, that when you take off the mask, you have to marry the person who saw you take off the mask. So she says, so they don't have to kill Shade, so they don't have to kill her. They should use her instead. They should use her as a symbol that if she marries the president's son, she they're basically saying even the lowest of lows, the people who have no order, have chaos in their lives, they can be brought to order. They can be put under this regime or whatever. They can be put under that same control as everyone else. So it's meant to be a statement of control to everyone. So it's gonna be live, it's gonna be televised, it's gonna be everything. So they're gonna get married. So that's basically what the book follows, basically leading up to the wedding day. So there's another guy that Shade was seeing in the boundary. His name is Jameson, but they call him Ghost because he also does the kind of work she does. And Shade works for another guy named Jagger, I'm not sure. I think it's Jagger. She works for him. He's the one who gives her the contracts and everything. So fast forward, we meet another character named Callum. He's Grayson's best friend. So he like works in computer type of business. Yeah. I think his dad owns it. So he's another person, well, I think the only person in the whole heart that President Sorrel can't touch, because his job is like secrets. He uses people for secrets. He tries to get as many secrets as he can to hold over other people. And he's in love with Lyra, who is Grayson's sister. This is a whole lot of things. So Grayson has a sister, Lyra. Grayson has a mother, Elara. Grayson has a father, Maximus. Grayson's best friend, Callum. Female main character that he's supposed to marry, Shade. That's all. I'll put them there so you can see. That's basically the main characters. Oh, and Jameson Ghost Vine. So Ghost is what he goes by, but his actual name is Jameson. That's the person that Shade was seeing in the boundary. Jagger, the one who hires her, gives her contracts and stuff. So we follow Grayson and Shade living together. Okay, before they start living together, while she's in the prison, while Grayson and his dad talk about the whole marriage thing, before they agree to it, Shade is in the prison, and then she sees other people from either the middle class and the low class just there starving. They don't give them food, they don't let them bathe, they just do whatever they want there. Not really. They're starving, so they don't really move much. There isn't anything there to keep them alive. They're just meant to rot there and die. So she sees them and she feels bad, and they ask her what she came to do, and she said she came to kill Grayson. And they were also happy because they thought, okay, if she kills Grayson, or if she even has the courage to want to kill him, then that means she's a good person, so she could start a revolution and all that. So that's basically what was happening there. And then when they're dragging her out, if you watch the Hunger Games, you know when what's her name, Katniss, when she was doing something and then everyone was like put their hands up and they were like singing a song. That's basically what they did there. They were singing a song about a revolution, how she's going to be the face of the revolution and all that. That reminded me of Hunger Games. So they dragged her out and they start shooting people. They just start killing people there. Same thing happened in the Hunger Games, I just remembered. Killing people in the prison and stuff. Then they drag her to the room with, what's his name? Grayson and Maximus. They talk about the marriage. She doesn't agree to it, but then they said they're gonna track Jameson, the Ghost Vine. They're gonna track him and kill him, and they're gonna basically kill anyone that matters to her. So she eventually agrees to it. She says she's gonna marry him, but in her head she's still going to try and figure a way out of the heart to return back to her home. So they start living together. They don't like each other. They hate each other because Shay tried to kill him. 2, Grayson tried to kill her, and also Grayson's dad killed her parents. So why would she like him? So that's basically how it goes. Then she finds a picture of someone and Grayson with their masks off. Remember, he still has his mask on throughout this. She doesn't. They don't wear masks in the boundary where she lived. So they go like that. She finds a picture of Grayson and someone else, but she knows she has seen that person before, but she can't place it in her head. So she keeps drinking. The alcoholism in this is not, it's stupid. I don't know why she kept drinking all the time, but she kept drinking. What happened? I think she got introduced to Callum, who is Grayson's best friend. So before she got introduced to him, Grayson, Lyra, and Callum made a plan that Grayson should try and get her to trust him so she can reveal things about the boundary or reveal things about herself that could give him a an upper hand. That's what he was trying to do. Maybe get her to fall in love with him so she can spill her guts, spill her mind out, and all that. So, okay, another thing I didn't like about the book, was the way the author wrote it. So normally, when, not all the time in fiction, I say fiction, in romantasy, they usually write either first person or third person, or I don't know if it was written in third person omniscient. So every single, not every chapter, but if they're gonna switch from one person's POV to the other person's POV, it's not still in first person. So it just switches randomly. You don't know whose perspective you're seeing from, if that makes sense. Because it wasn't confusing, but I don't think it was necessary to be used. We are seeing from Jager's perspective, I think. We're seeing from Jameson. We saw from Jameson a lot. We saw from Shadera, we saw from Gracie, we saw from Lyra, Callum. So many people's. We even saw from Maximus. I don't think that was needed. I don't think we saw from Elara. We saw from almost every single main character and supporting character. It didn't make sense, but I didn't like the way it was done that way. Yeah. So back to the plot. So now Jameson is scared that, oh, Shadera hasn't come back, Shade hasn't come back. He's like, oh, he's gonna go to the heart and find her, but he knows he can't get there alone. So he goes to meet Jager because he knows Jager. They're not friends, but they know each other for their reputations. He goes to meet Jager that, oh, how are we gonna get her out? Because Jager, Shade is kind of like a daughter to Jager. How are we gonna get her out and all that? And he says, okay, give him 3 days. He'll find a way in that's safe, considering, rather than Jameson just going in alone. Because if he goes in alone, he's gonna die. So that was their plan. Come back in 3 days. I'll have everything sorted out and it'll be cool. So while that was going on, we're gonna go back a bit. Jameson was being followed by these drones. So regularly, the drones just go around scouting, mapping the whole terrain. But he noticed that it kept following him into the dark alleys, into different places, like thin, like places. It was scanning every single where he was going. And he realized that it was probably trying to kill him. But he shot it down. That's when he went to meet Jager. That was the follow-up to how he got to Jager. So that's on hold for now. We're back to Shade and Grayson. Grayson introduces Shade to Lyra and Callum. They meet, they like each other. Funny. I think I'm going to be missing a few things, but leading up to the wedding, they decide they should team up. At this point, I don't think they like each other very much, but they're like allies. So they team up. They say, okay, this is how we're gonna take down your dad. They go to Callum's club and like Shade is just dancing, doing whatever. Okay, sorry, I forgot a character that was kind of important. His name is Captain Mikkel. Captain Mikkel, he's like the right-hand man to President Maximus. Like, he knows most of everything that's going on in the heart. So he's up to date on almost every single thing, except the things that Maximus doesn't tell him. So he's important because we find out, plot twist, that he's a traitor. So he's committing treason because he's helping Jager and Jameson and everyone in the boundary to look for Shade. So he's basically defected. Not really, but kind of. He's defected in the sense that he doesn't actually believe in whatever the heart's doing, but he has to stay there just so he can be close to the person who's actually in power. We also find out that there's another girl who's involved, but she helps with like shipments and stuff. So some people help from the heart to send in shipments through the patrol cars that go through the boundary, go through the middle class place, I think the Cardinal. So those patrol, they're doing patrols every night, every day, every few hours. So they put stuff under the patrol vans, patrol cars. They put it under. But the thing is, the cars are weighed whenever they pass through those gates and stuff. So whatever they're putting in can't be too heavy. They can't put in like heavy guns, heavy things like that. No. They put in like food, medicine, things that people need sometimes. They put in guns sometimes, but it has to be really light. Grayson does that. He helps with medicine and stuff. He puts it under the patrol cars to send to the boundary, but no one knows except him. So yeah, so they have a meeting, Jaeger, Jameson, I think the day before they're supposed to, the day before they're supposed to bust out Shade. They meet up, they do all that. The day comes, they're going through everything. Then guess who shows up? Mikkel. He gives them the suits, he gives them everything. So Jameson's like not really trusting. He doesn't trust Mikkel to be someone who was gonna help them. So he was kind of wary of him. But they keep going, they get to the heart. Jameson is one who has to like get the Vera suits. So the Vera are the people, the guards. So they're dressed as the guards to go in so they can blend in, obviously. And yeah, Jameson is supposed to convince Shade to wear the suit and come out. But when he gets there, she's about to put on the suit. Grayson shows up. He's like, no, remember what's at stake here. He could lose his sister, his mom, people he cares about. So he's not going to let her leave just because she wants to. That she should also think about what's at stake here. That if she leaves, he's losing something. If she leaves, she's also losing something. Because they're going to find Jameson, kill him, find her, and probably kill her too. So she weighs her options and she's like, okay, I'm going to stay in the heart and just finish all this up. So Jameson's, he's not very impressed by this, but by now like Shade and Grayson, they're getting romantically involved. Honestly, that whole plot was useless to me. I did not care for it at all. But yeah, Jameson leaves, sad, everything. Everyone's like, oh, you couldn't even convince her to come, whatever. So I guess this plan was a bust. It was okay, waste of time. They go back, and then everything keeps going. We get into Maximus's perspective. Hated it. He was just talking about how, oh, women shouldn't be at the top of anything. Basically very misogynistic and whatever. How they shouldn't be ruling anything, how they can't think for themselves, I saw no point in his perspective. We already knew he was the villain. But it was I saw some reviews. People were like, he was talking like a cartoon character, like those type of villains. And he was. That's how he was speaking. Very cartoonish. But yeah. So his perspective comes along, moves away. Then they make another plan. When they get back home, Grayson and Shade, they're the guards, they're in their apartment, Grayson's apartment that they share. So they kill them, like 6 of them, kill them. Then they call in Callum to help, remove the bodies. They find the person who was like trying to spy on them from outside. They bring him in to this torture chamber that Grayson has inside his apartment. They bring him in. They're torturing him, asking him questions. That's basically Callum's job. He either tortures people or he sends someone from his club to, get secrets from them some way. Then they torture. Then Lyra comes in. She's like, oh my gosh, why are you guys doing this? Like, I never expected this from you guys. Is this what you guys are always doing? That no, why would you be killing people? Like, you already kill people not of your own will, but now I can see you actually doing it of your own will. So, because also Callum and Lyra, they like each other. They love each other. They've known each other for many, many years. So they had a thing. He said, oh, he doesn't like her anymore. They separated, but he still likes her actually. He just said it because of Grayson is his best friend. I don't know. He was looking irritating, guys. But he was my favorite character, Callum, because he was the only funny one who had, I guess, some sort of personality. But that's just me. Yeah, so she walks in. She's like, why are you guys doing this? They move to the living room. They start talking. This is the part that I hated the most because it just felt like they were just saying things for the sake of, oh my gosh, what? This really happened? Like, that shock value, that shock factor, just so us, the readers, the audience can be like, wow, I didn't see this coming. So I think Callum says the name of the guy, and then Lyra gets triggered. So apparently her dad, just to maybe not control her, but to make her docile, I guess, he gave her to like a bunch of his men to do whatever they want with her. So they basically raped her. They did whatever they wanted to her, and it was weird. I don't know why that was in the book, but it was just thrown in there. And she was like, I don't know, 14. She was really young, so she's had these memories in her mind. She's never told anyone before. I think only her mom knows. Her mom and her dad and the men. So that man that they were searching was part of them. So she's like, oh, Callum, give me your gun. She walks in there, shoots him. Then she comes back and she tells them what happened, why she did that, da 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 da. So they make a plan. Oh, you guys, we shouldn't be angry at each other. We should try and find a way to be able to stop these people, stop our parents, stop this wedding from going on. I think she also said that that's one thing that happens during the wedding ceremony. So when they're done, they like give the person as being what's called, they basically have to consummate the marriage in front of everyone. So in front of the whole elite. So like there's the regular elite, and then there's this, you know how like a company, there's like the board of trustees, the board. So that's kind of it, the highest of the highest people. They're basically there to watch while they consummate. It makes no sense. It's kind of disgusting, but whatever. Yeah, so she says, oh, that's what's gonna happen, that she doesn't want, I don't think she told them. So they make a plan to stop it. So she's gonna, because she's the person who controls the what people see during the live stream when they're killing people every day for whatever bad things they've done, stealing food, stealing medicine, stealing whatever, falling in love with someone. That's what she does. She controls the live stream to other places. Grayson, he's the executioner, he's the one that killed them. So their plan was she's going to control the feed to show something else other than the ceremony of the marriage. So everyone else is going to say something while the president and them are going to be saying the actual thing. Then Callum is going to do something. They made the plan with Jager. They made the plan with them. So Callum and Lyra go to the boundary to meet up with Jager, Jameson, this other girl that I don't remember her name. She's also important. Only for Mikhail to show up. And then they're like, why is Mikhail here? They're like, what's his use here? What does he have? Like, what? Nothing about this is important to him. Again, for the shock factor, that's when they drop another bomb. Grayson is Mikhail's son. What? I think that was the only one I wasn't expecting. I thought he was just doing this out of the goodness of his heart, that he doesn't want like all these bad things to be happening to these people. But turned out Grayson is Mikhail's son. He and Grayson's mom had something when they were younger. Then he gave birth to, she gave birth to Grayson, but pretended it was the other guy's son, Maximus's son. It was a whole thing. Anyways, it becomes the day of the ceremony. Mind you, this is like a week. This whole book takes place in like a week. So I don't know how Grayson and Shade fell in love. It made no sense to me. I didn't really care. Their whole relationship was very much insignificant to me. It was meant to be the plot of the book, but it was a waste of time in my opinion. But yeah, so they do that. It becomes the day of the ceremony. They close all the gates. The day starts. They're about to start the wedding. They're already on the platform. Also, I forgot to add, Shade also got her own mask. It was like in the form of Grayson's tattoo on his back, so his mark or something like that. I don't remember. They're about to start the ceremony. Lyra projects the whole thing, what they're supposed to be saying, something else. Then she comes out and she's like, oh, this is what they did to me. So she did this whole, not revolution, but like between a few hundred of women to wear white, and they take off their masks so everyone can see their faces. Her dad is angry. All this happens. This is like the only maybe like 20% at the end of the book that was, just throwing everything in there just so it can be fun and at the edge of your seat. I was not even at the edge of my seat. I was just like, can we get this over with? I'm tired. I'm done with this book already. I just want to finish it so I can have a good thing to say. Like I know what happened, so I can actually talk about it, So that's what happens. She locks everyone out. Callum can't get in. He has to do something. He finally gets in. Then this is where the biggest reveal of all is. Oh, sorry, I forgot to add this. So before, when I said Shade saw a picture of Grayson and someone in a photo, that she said she doesn't recognize, it was Grayson's brother. So years ago, Grayson's brother died or was killed by a Daggermouth. So that's why Grayson didn't like Shade, because he didn't like her people because they killed his brother, and him and his brother were really close. He was trying to find out who killed his brother. So it turns out Shade was the one who killed his brother. Woohoo, what a shock. But Shade couldn't remember because after she killed him, I think she went to get drunk and then she forgot. But it turns out he didn't actually die. Another bomb. He comes out at the end of the book. He's like, oh, hey guys, I'm actually alive. This is what happened. Dad wanted me to pretend I was dead, so he hired a Daggermouth to kill me, and when they killed me, I would infiltrate the Daggermouth people. So he pretended he was actually part of the Daggermouth, and like he fell in love with someone from that lower end. So when they killed him, they put in someone else's blood in another body that looks like him to make it seem like he was actually dead while he was alive and recovering. Then they started telling him all their plans. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to infiltrate the heart. And he was sending those messages to his dad. Now, this is what they're planning. This, that. So all this while that everything was going on, Maximus actually knew what was happening. That's probably why he was so cocky. But anyway, he knew what was going on. They kept doing that. So it just came out at the last minute that, I don't remember his name. Let's say Jake, sure. That Jake knew everything. Jake was actually alive. And then, now this is like the literal like last few chapters of the book. Grayson is about to shoot his dad, but all the guns are pointed at Grayson, like all the guards are there. The guns are pointed at Grayson. Mikhail's gun is also pointed at, I think, Maximus. So, you know, they're probably gonna die if they shoot both of them. Then they start giving this whole speech. When you were this, I thought this, I hated you, I did this and that and that and that. They're just talking. You know, when you watch a movie and you're like, just kill them, just end it right there. This whole speech you're doing is doing nobody favors. If they're gonna shoot you, they're gonna shoot you. Shoot him and get it over with. That's what I was saying. I was like, just get it over with. You have a gun right to his head. End it. But no, didn't end it. They kept talking, only for someone shot a gun. I think Callum died. He dived, he got hit instead of Lyra, I think, and then he died. I think he got shot in the head actually. So he was gone. And that was the only sad part. I was like, damn, bro. I waited all this time for my favorite character in the book, the only okay character in the book, to die. What a waste of my time. So he dies, Lyra starts crying, they start dragging Lyra away, only for Ilara, remember Ilara? Grayson's mom, to be like, they call me the serpent, they call me the something, the scorpion or something like that, because I didn't. No one calls you that, ma'am. Literally no one calls you that. No one even knows who you are. You are barely even in this book. We only heard of you like once or twice. They call me this, da. Another thing, the amount of times they beat up Grayson, the amount of times they stabbed Shade, the amount of times so many things happened in 1 week, and every single day they're back to normal. They break a bone, tomorrow they're fine. They, crack her knee, they hit her with a hammer or something, next day she's good. They stab her, next day she's fine. It didn't make sense. I think maybe if it was over a course of so many months, maybe it makes sense. But it was maybe a week, maybe even less, maybe 5 days, 6 days, all this was happening. So that also didn't make sense. That part I didn't like also. But yeah, that's how the book ended. They drag Grayson, I think they dragged Grayson, Shade, Lyra away. So Maximus basically won in the end, while his son Jake was also there. Everybody else, I think they dragged Jameson, everyone was there, I think, and they dragged them away. So I think there's going to be a second book. I'm not going to read it. Sorry, not sorry, but I don't think I can put myself through that again. I only finished this one for the review sake, so I can ethically talk about it, But it is what it is. So that's the first book. I gave it, I think, 2.5 stars because the plot, the intended plot was what I wanted, what I expected. I think that I gave that maybe like 1.5 stars. That's what I got from it. Then the 1 star for her actually writing it. She deserves something for writing it. So 2.5 stars. I think that's what I give this book. I would not recommend it because I just didn't enjoy it. There were so many things that didn't. Maybe if you want a little book that can just take your mind out of thinking, you don't want to think about the book, go for it. But if you're gonna, you know, start seeing inconsistencies like I did, maybe don't read the book.